Hello there, my dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. This is my review and first impressions of Flight Sim 2024 running on the Xbox Series S, so the lesser of the Xbox systems. How does Flight Sim 2024, when you can get in, perform on the Series S? I'll be giving you an overview and my thoughts on that, and giving you a few demonstrations. Also in this video, it's going to be one of my first controller setup videos with the new sim now it's launched. I'm going to set up and help you set up your Xbox controller, so your Series S or X Xbox controller with the new sim, to give you a bit more fluidity. Maybe a few more easy options than the default settings. I'm going to be showing you and talking and walking you through that. So let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. Okay, so here we are on the main menu, and you've got the various different things you can do: world photographer, activities, career, free flight, challenge league, marketplace. Shall we go to free flight first? This can be hit or miss. By the way, I'm recording this, what time is it? 9:30 AM. So 9:30 AM UK time, UTC time. Seems to be around the best time you can get in these days. If you're struggling to get in, around 9 to 11 AM UTC UK time does seem to be the best time, at least for us Brits. I don't know what it's like for the rest of the world. If you're elsewhere, you might either have to stay up late or get up very early. Now, I've tried various different places. London doesn't look great just because of the bandwidth issues currently we have with the sim. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my hometown, in fact, Manchester Airport. And I'm going to... Well, actually, I mean... So this is free flight, so I'm just choosing a flight. What I do is zoom right into the airport, wait for these dots to come up. They've all come up pretty quick, actually. You can choose a different aircraft. I do have a mouse attached along with my controller. So, you know, there's a Cessna 172 there. I've just got the standard Game Pass version, so whatever in there is in. You know, you got airship, hot air balloons, helicopters, all kinds of things. I'll just stick with the good old Cessna 172 there. Have those dots gone away? And while I've got the mouse handy, I'll set as departure here from this runway, and we'll start flight. Now, trying this last night, it just hung. I'll try and keep this... Oh, there you go, it's straightened. That's unusual. You're lucky if that happens nowadays. Now, there we go. I don't know what all that dust is behind me. And there's the ATC. Let's just go ready to fly. Yeah, what's all that dust kicking up? I can't believe this runway is that dusty. I don't know quite what's going on there. There we go. Apparently we got either a very dirty engine or a very dusty runway. Quite unusual. Now let's just get in the cockpit. I've got some controls set up, but I'll go into them later. I've just set the gamepad to where it feels more comfortable for me, and I'll talk about that later. Just release the parking brake, and the triggers I've left alone as rudders. They work fine. Now, if there's any decompression with this video, I'm recording via OBS. I've tried to get the best settings. And you're going to get YouTube compression as well. Do I have any flaps in? Did it give me... Yep, I'll just take those flaps up. There we go. And we're up and flying, no problem. Now, default, just left click the left analog stick. It will get rid of all those points of interest, so you don't have all those dots floating around. Does seem to have AI traffic on there. I thought I turned it off, never mind. And just to give you... Now, because my bandwidth's good at the moment, and then my connection to the server, I'm getting a decent connection. We'll do a bit of a fly around, just to show you what kind of experience. Remember, the Xbox Series S is probably your most underpowered option to fly Flight Sim at the moment. So you're not going to get the best visuals regardless. And when you add in the compression, video compression or recording compression that I have. But a lot of the shimmering around is pretty much what I see anyway. You can see in the distance there some shimmering and goodness knows what. And, you know, the anti-aliasing isn't the best. It's just because, you know, of the underpoweredness nature of the Series S in effect there. Let me just put some trim in so I'm not going skywards. That's better. Then I can get back external. And there you go. Now the G1000, I did do a flight over London yesterday and those turned off, but it could be because of the default bindings on my gamepad, which I since changed. I might have actually turned the screens off. I've not had any blank screens recently. I'm not flying in a very, so we say, very populated area, and I'm not in a multiplayer flight. And I've not stress tested that, but my subsequent playthroughs, those screens have stayed on. So your G1000s. So I've not had any black avionic problems. Let's just fly over a more populated area, the city of Manchester, as it is. Or some busy residential areas. And there you go. Once you get a good connection to the bandwidth and everything's streaming in, it can actually look quite nice. Keep in mind it's the Series S. It's not the most powerful console out there. I do have to repeat that. Well, I feel I have to repeat that. Because previously, you know, yeah, I could get a few good flights on my Series S, but it never looked great. This, to me, Flight Sim 2024 is looking better than Flight Sim 2020 on the Series S in many different areas. I'm going to show you a more beautiful area in a moment. But there you go, look at that. It's not bad, is it? That's not too bad. So just do a bit more flying. Let's just see those screens. The G1000s, essentially. Let's just see if they respond. And, you know, I think I've got some autopilot. Let's just see. Yeah, I've got my heading. Do I have my heading bugs? No, maybe not. I have set up some controls, and I'm going to set them up later with you as well, just to show you some more comfortable way to fly with the gamepad if you're using it. I do like using the gamepad just simply because of the viewing options you get with the left and right analog sticks. Can be quite nice. There you go. That's quite good, isn't it? I mean, I'm quite happy with that kind of performance. If we get that consistently with Flight Sim 2024 going forward on my Series S, I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. It's not quite up there with my PC, of course. It's nowhere near as powerful. Doesn't have any... It's not even half as well spec'd as my PC. But from what I'm seeing there, flying over the airport, it's nice. And, you know, your performance is going to differ depending on your bandwidth. And really depending on what areas you're flying in. Listen, I think that's enough there. My G1000's still in. Oh, the aircrafts are spawning beneath. There you go. The AI traffic are turned on. They're going for taxis there. Going towards the runway. Can we hear? We can hear some engine noises there from them. I like that. If we can get that kind of performance on my little Series S. Look at the lighting behind me as well. Okay, that's just Manchester. Let's go back to the main menu. Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse there. Bear with me. I got my desktop mouse. You can't see it probably on screen, but I thought never mind. Now I've got my mouse connected to my Xbox. I'm going to tempt fate it. I'm going to go to career. I may have to cut this. I tried this before, and it just continually hangs on headquarters. Now this is not due to the performance of the Series S per se, it's due to the bandwidth limitations we're all currently experiencing at the moment. So give this a minute or no, it's got him. Oh, there you go. So missions worked as well. Now let me just see. Someone said on my previous missions video, I'll link my Flight Sim 2024 playlist down below, that with the specialization certification, you're right. I can actually go commercial pilot license in an aircraft. Oh, interested. Okay, I'll have to do that later. So I'm partway through missions. Go and look at my videos down below. I won't continue it in this video. I want to concentrate more on that. But there you go. Missions seem to work. I mean, I can go in here. That seems to work fine as well. And then I can choose a mission here to fly, etc, etc. I mean, let's just take it part way. Like I said, I want to concentrate on this and I don't want to make the video about missions. I've done a video on that. There you go, that seems to work fine. So if you want to go on your career path, there you go. And that's the flight plan I'll be doing now on that specific mission. I won't. I'll come back and go back to HQ and then go back to main menu. There's something else I want to show you here. Oh, don't hang on me now. You were doing so well. Last night I was trying... Oh, it's gone. There you go. It's fine. So I'll continue with that if I can get a chance later. Right, what I'm going to do though is go to World Photographer, because this can be quite impressive on the little Series S. And it's the bridges, and it's San Francisco over the Golden Gate Strait. What I do there, select it. Bit of a tip here if you're trying this. Wait till it all loads in. And you're happy with it. There you go, it's loading in. Wait till it all loads in and populates down here. All the boxes here are populated. Then go start exploring. Don't click it as soon as it comes up if nothing's loaded in beside it, because it will hang. Depends on your bandwidth. Depends what connection you have. We're straight in. I'm having a wonderful day with the Series S today. Look at this now. This is when it's going to start to get interesting, folks. Ready to fly. Now I'm just going to get rid of this little box. I'm not going to do the mission. I'm just going to fly around. Have I got flaps in? Let's just take them up. Let's get in the cockpit. Have I got engine sounds? I know people are having trouble with engine sounds. There they are. They disappeared for a moment. So let's remove those waypoints, those markers. We'll go around the Golden Gate. Take a look behind us. We'll go and fly around that city. Doesn't this look good for the Series S? I've got to say, remember, I'm flying on a Series S. I'm playing on a Series S, not a powerful PC or the X. You can imagine the X will look much better. Look at the water as well. That looks better. Now, there's a bit of shimmering. That's not just because of my video compression there, or my video recording methods, or YouTube compression, or whatever. That's what I'll see when playing on my monitor native on my Series S. It's just the case of, you know, the anti-aliasing is... It's just not quite powerful enough to get all those features in, shall we say. But still, in comparison to Flight Sim 2020, that to me looks better. Let's take a look at downtown San Fran. So there's the Golden Gate. Doesn't that look good? Look at the water textures as well. That is not bad, folks. What do you think? Keep in mind, people, those with the Series S can look at this and make your own thoughts on this. Or make your own mind up on this, rather. Get in the cockpit. Let's do things properly, Hudson. I mean, I would normally fly in the cockpit. I'm just showing you the area. Look at that, though. Lighting is absolutely, definitely improved with the new sim. Dirty windows there, so we can't get a proper view. Look at this. Graphically for the Series S. Now, Am I getting a bit of jittering there? I just wonder if that's... No. It definitely feels smoother playing this natively on my Series S. I just wonder if the... No, it's fine. Might have just been a bit jittery there loading stuff in. I don't know. Yeah, definitely just feels smoother in flight. And look at that. Good. I never got graphics like that on my Series S with Flight Sim 2020. Now, granted, a lot of this is actually being streamed in rather than sitting on my Xbox on a hard drive. So a lot of these features... Oops. Didn't mean to turn that. I want to give you that view just so you can see. I'll stop turning the camera, sorry. I want to look at everything, that's why I'm turning the camera so much. There's quite a bit of popping, you've got to expect that on the Series S, so as you get nearer to things, you're going to find things popping in. Whereas on my PC, it's all pretty much there, with just a tiny bit of popping here and there. Well, that's not too bad though, is it? Come and try this on your Series S if you can get into Flight Sim 2020. That's a big if at the moment, isn't it? Let's just trim down. Bring back that throttle a bit. Trim back up. I'll show you my settings in a moment. I've got it nice where my elevator and ailerons are behaving nicely and not too erratically. The default profile is not the best. I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get into the city. Look at this. Have I got active pause set up? Oh, I do. That's just the default hold left bumper and Y key. Y button, rather, on the controller. You can't complain about that, people, can you? Really can't. For the Series S, I'll be happy to get... I mean, would I be happy with this on my PC? I would be fairly happy with that on my PC. I mean, the anti-aliasing and shimmering of far-away objects, that's just a Series S issue. How's my G1000 doing? In a busy area, it's still holding up. So no blank screens so far. I only got it once. Oh, no, is that... Oh, I got a bit of a pause. I wonder if that's my software. I'll have to look at the recording later. Yeah, that definitely paused. I'm not sure if that's my Xbox or my OBS. I never got that playing natively. It was very smooth. And generally, even flying in a busy area like that, I'm getting smooth performance. There you go. I'll pause again so you can see that. And, you know, you might say there's a few crumpled buildings here or there. Or it doesn't look quite as nice as it does on PC. Of course it doesn't. Keep in mind what we are showcasing here, or the hardware we're showcasing it on. I'm quite happy, more than happy with that. I never have seen that in Flight Sim 2020 on my Series S. Never seen anything like this, so this, to me, is definitely a win for the Xbox Series S. Well, listen, there you go. That's just a showcase of what Flight Sim 2024 looks like. What are my thoughts of it on the Series S? Well, you can probably tell. Look at that. Just by the words and phrases I'm using. It performs to me much better than it did with Flight Sim 2020. I'm much happier. If my Series S was my only option to fly Flight Sim 2024, and it becomes stable and we can all get in and we can expect this performance day in, day out, I will be absolutely more than happy with this kind of performance. Get a dedicated controller and you're away. You can get all kinds of things. The MyApp Pro for your autopilot shenanigans and goodness knows what. Look at that. I mean, look at that. I would be absolutely more than happy to fly Flight Sim 2024 just on my Series S. But of course I'm spoilt and I've got a PC that can give me better performance, of course. Gotta say, only slightly, this rivals PC performance in this area. I've gotta say, look at that. So those are my thoughts. Okay, let me now take you to the part of the video where I'll show you the setup, or my setup, for the Xbox game controller on the Xbox Series S and X. Okay, let's get to the part of the video. Let me just get rid of that box where we're going to set up the Xbox controller so it feels more comfortable. I'm in default profile, what it gives you out of the box at the moment. Let's get in the cockpit. If I move left and right with my left analog stick up and down, it's far too sensitive. You can't really control an aircraft like that. I mean, a controller to control an aircraft is not always the best method anyway, but this... yeah, moving it slightly. Got all kinds of issues. Let's just get into the settings. So you just press the sort of free button, the normal, your pause button on your Xbox controller. So there's a button below the big X just to the right of it, the three lines. I'm using a mouse so just to make it easier on myself, and I would recommend that if you're playing Flight Sim, and a keyboard. I don't have a keyboard attached. There's my controller. And you can see the picture of the controller to the right there. For some reason, it's brought up two mice. So I've got two mice attached, apparently. I don't know how. And there you go. These are the default profiles it gives you. So what I'm going to do first is actually amend those flight controls where I'm moving left and right, up and down. If you go to the hardware settings here, I'm going to try and make this for newbies. So I'll go into some depth, but not too much. There's no sensitivity. So what sensitivity does, plus and minus, if you put it on minus sensitivity, so the sliders to the left, it will make it less sensitive. If you move the sliders this way, it will make it more sensitive. How can we tell? So that's your left analog stick, these two. How can you tell which is which? Well, I know from adjusting this, the top one is your elevator, your up and down movement. So when you move this up, your aircraft will dive. When you move the controller down, it will climb. If you're not used to flying, that's going to seem back to front. You can invert that, but then you're making it more like a game. Keep it the way it is. When you move the controller up, you're diving. It's like if you can imagine a yoke, you've got to push it forward to dive down, pull it back to climb. Keep it that way is my recommendation and get used to it. I can't fly in Flight Sim or any space game without that kind of setup. Move it forward to dive, pull it back to climb. So how can we tell which is which? If I move the controller, well, it's just going to go between these two, in effect. So I'm moving my left analog stick. It's just coming between all these different options here. But nothing's showing here on the graph. I believe that's a bug with Xbox at the moment. But if I start to affect this, so my elevator, my up and down movement, my climb and descend movement is too sensitive. If I bring these back, now from actually experimenting, as soon as you start to move that, you've got to rename the profile. It won't let you save this under a default profile. So I'll click in this box. And I'm just going to call this test. Test. There you go. And click OK there. That's my new profile created. I'll touch on profiles a little bit. I don't want to make this too complicated. I'll go into that in more detail in future videos. I'm just going to put this on minus 0.3, and you want to put both the plus and minus sensitivity tabs to the same thing, otherwise you're going to get some odd behaviors. Plus and minus on 0.3. Go back. I can use my controller for this. Go back. Resume. Now if I move my left stick down, yeah, it feels much smoother. Much smoother. I'm not getting awkward and very sudden movements there. So I know that top one is for the elevator. And I knew that anyway. Let's go back to sensitivities. My left and right movement are still too sensitive. So I'm going to alter them. So again, go to options. So you're in settings general, go to controls. Make sure your controller is selected, and you can see we're in the test profile. Now, just to give you a quick tip there, if you click on this cog, you can set this as default for all you can apply it to all aircraft and set it as default. So that means when you go away and come back to the sim, if you click set as default, might as well do that. It will make it default now as soon as I launch into the sim. Apply to all aircraft. I may not do that because I may want different settings for different aircraft. Click on that cog again to remove that. If I go to hardware settings again, this bottom one must be my ailerons, my left and right movement. So I'm going to just alter that to minus, I want it on minus 2.5 on both the plus and minus sensitivities. If this is your first time in Flight Sim, welcome to the wonderful world of setting up flight controls. It's not as straightforward as perhaps it could be. 25, both of them, 0.25. Basically 0.25% if you take it as a whole percentage, or 25% in the minus sensitivities is a better way of thinking about it. I hope I'm not confusing people saying that. Go back. No, up and down's fine, left and right's fine. I have found with Flight Sim 2024 sometimes it's better to restart the flight once you've changed controllers. We'll do that in a moment. That's okay. Trim. I want my trim holding down my left bumper and moving my D-pad down. I want it to trim nose up. If I do that now, it's just going to take me to a different view. If I move my D-pad up with my left bumper down, it's going to put me into a view above the nose of the aircraft. I don't like that. Is that elevator okay? Maybe I can alter that. Alter those sensitivities to where it feels fine. That feels a lot better. Quite smooth, actually, with the gamepad now. Maybe a little bit too sensitive still. And this is for GA aircraft, specifically at the moment, the X-Cub. And perhaps the Cessna 172. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let's alter those trim. Do I want it on my left bumper? Do I want it on my right? Let's just see where it's put trim by default. You can do this by going to settings. Press pause, you get into your settings. Go to control settings, make sure your controller is selected. Go to flight control services, it's right at the top here. Just left click on that. Control trimming services. If you're using a gamepad, let's see if I can do it. Yeah, it's a bit more difficult. You really want a mouse for this part. Control trimming services. And elevator trim is, yeah, it's basically right button and your right analog stick up and down. I don't like that. I'm thinking I want it on my left bumper button. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to click, well, I'm going to go here. Because we got a new profile, we named it before test, we can alter this. If you just hover your mouse over that one and press, you can see there, unbind at the bottom left here. Well, if I move the mouse, you can't see it. Look at the bottom left. You've got that button to unbind it. Press it, it will unbind those settings. Now, I've also got to rename the aircraft profile as well. It's a bit confusing, this part, but just name them both to maybe the same profile. And that's fine. And click OK, and I'll just make this default as well. I won't apply it to all aircraft. I may want different, but I'll set it as default. So when I go into the sim next time, these will both be default to me. There we go. If I get rid of this, hover over there, click the same button again to unbind. It's unbound. Now pay attention here, people. This could get confusing. I'm going to go search by input. And I'm going to click my left bumper button to see what's bound. Oh, you've got to click search by input. And click the left bumper button. It's going to give you all the bindings for your left bumper button. Far too much there. It's got drone settings and things that I don't like. I'm going to get rid of the majority of these. I like the toggle EFB and I like the toggle active pause. I've got used to that. I don't like this back to fly. I don't like all these. And in fact, it can confuse matters. So hover over each one and delete them. So I'm just hovering. I like the top two, so I'm not hovering over them. But the rest of them, I'm getting rid of. It's up to you if you want to do this, because you'll lose a lot of your bindings. But you can always go back to your default profile here. Change this back to where it was before, your default profile, if you make a mistake. Or you just decide you want to keep all those settings. I don't, certainly. And I'm just used to my trim on my gamepad. It's up to you where you want this. You can put it on your left or right bumper. People are actually using your bumper buttons for trim. So left bumper for nose up maybe, right for nose down. If you do that, you're losing a lot of real estate on your gamepad. Because if you use the left bumper as a shifter, it's like holding down a shift key on the keyboard. It will give you a whole range of options. It means you can hold the left bumper button down and then press another button in conjunction with it. All these buttons in conjunction with your left bumper to have, well, I'm going to show you a lot of different options in the sim. So what am I doing there? I want my, so let's just come out of that thing here. I'm going to set up my trim. So flight control services, control trimming services, elevator trim nose down. And you've got to hold your mouse over the box, left click it, and if you move the mouse, the scans cancel. That's awkward, Asobo. I don't like that part at all. Maybe there's a way of altering that. I'll have to look into that. Trim nose down. I'm going to left click my bumper button and D-pad up at the same time. Click them both at the same time. There you go, that's right. So I'm going to hold down my left bumper. It won't do anything by itself, but left bumper in conjunction with D-pad up will trim me down. Trim nose up. Hover over it. Don't move the mouse while it's there. Left bumper and D-pad down. Did I say that right? So trim nose up, left bumper and D-pad down. Trim nose down, left bumper and D-pad up. And there's your D-pad there if you're confused by that. There you go. That's in. Save them back. What I like to do here now is restart because it can act funny. So I'm just going to restart the flight. It will just restart this current flight I'm in. Hopefully the bandwidth will hold up here. It could go at any moment with the state of Flight Sim 2024. I'm going to try that. So I've got my elevator and ailerons, they're acting. I'm going to trim down. Left bumper. D-pad up. Yeah, it's trimming down. And basically trim will just trim the nose of your aircraft. If you find yourself going skywards, or you're descending too quick, and you want to trim it out so you level flight, it's working fine. So there you go, that's the first part of my setup. Let's continue. Okay, continuing, let me just show you some of the default settings that are already on the gamepad that I quite like. So, options again, or settings rather, not options. Click on controls, make sure your controller is selected. I'm going to see what's bound to my D-pad. So if I move, without holding anything else, just my D-pad up and down, I'll move it up first. Increase flaps, I like that. I've got the elevator set there. It's got some other things there. Now, you can alter these if you want. In fact, I'll leave it for now. Now, you can delete those like I showed you before, rather, if you want to. Drone, I'm going to delete because I don't want any drone. I'll set up drone in a different way. So I'm going to hover over that and delete. Press that delete button again. Remember, your delete button is down at the bottom right. If I hover over one of those, look at the bottom right, that's your unbound key. So that's just deletes. There's another drone there. The rest of them's fine. So you've got decrease flaps. And increase flaps, if I click on that again, search by input, move my D-pad down. There you go. Increase flaps is moving it down. Again, I'm going to get rid of the drones. Because I'll set them up independently in a different way. There we go. I don't like that start engine. That could be engine auto stop. I definitely don't like that. I'm going to get rid of that and engine auto start and auto focus. I'll leave that on for now. And of course, I've got my elevator trim that I set up before. So some of them are okay. Your power management and things. I'll quickly show you things. One or two things. I won't show you them all because there's a lot set up on the D-pad by default. Power management. Have I gone past it? I probably have. Let me just concentrate and look at the screen more carefully. I often do that when I'm recording. I'll just go past things. It's probably right at the top, isn't it? Power management, yep. Throttle. Should have increased throttle. I can get rid of them later. All these different bindings that are on the increased throttle is my A key. A key. Decrease is B. I don't mind that. That's okay. And I've got brakes on X, I believe. And release parking brakes is either right bumper and X. I'm not sure, but it's it's where I want it. I'll have to look at the default. So a lot of the default bindings are absolutely fine. Shall we do some autopilot shenanigans here? Why not? So controller, let's just click out of this box. How do we get rid of this now? Oh, there we go. Just click on the power management heading. I go back. There we go. Just go back one. I just press my B key on my controller. Autopilot. Oh dear, dear, dear. Let's do this. Come on, Hudson, be more. Toggle autopilot master. I actually want my Y key. Let me just see what's bound on my Y key first. Search by input and press the Y key. I've got toggle spray. It's not going to affect it when I'm in an aircraft such as this, but you can get rid of that if you want. Lead pole. I don't like that. I'm going to get rid of that one. So I'm just looking at Y by itself. What's there? Get rid of that. Firefighting, toggle spray. We'll keep them on for now. Lead pole. I don't have one in this aircraft. That's fine. So come out of that. So on my Y key, I want toggle autopilot master. So where would it be again? General settings. It would be under general in autopilot heading or menu. Toggle autopilot master. I'm going to click in the box. Click and start scanning, and now Y will toggle my autopilot master on and off. Shall we just test that? Go back. Resume. Just bring my view down and mouse in. So if I click that Y button, yeah, autopilot has turned itself on. If I click that Y button again, it will turn itself off. All fine and dandy, isn't it? Let me just trim down using my trim settings that I've got set up. There we go. Just move the aircraft that way. That's fine, it's all behaving. So there's one. I also want... I'm going to use right bumper and B. Let's just see if anything's bound. So controls. Always remember to go to controls. Make sure your controller is selected. I'm just going to search by input. And I'm going to press Y and... oops. Y... right bumper and B together. Ah. I don't think I was in the box. I think you've got to stay in the box. It's a bit pernickety this part. Just bear with it. So hover over the box. Search by input. Y and B together. Y and B. It's got drone. Previous events. I don't like that. Let's get rid of that. And that one. Because I want that. Let's just get rid of that now. Under autopilot, so I'm just using my mouse wheel to scroll down. Do get a mouse attached. Go into your autopilot menu. I apologise if I've gone too fast for people before. And you want to go to the heading and toggle autopilot heading hold. And what this will do is, well, I'll show you this in more detail in a moment. You can actually click in that box now. Click and start scanning. Click right bumper and B together. There you go. Toggle autopilot heading hold. That will toggle autopilot heading hold on and off. What I want to do here is type in this box. Oh, I'll have to do it. I'm going to type in decrease. Let's start typing it in. There we go. I can choose the word here. And then just auto. Oh, no. Heading. Decrease heading. Yep. Choose it there. Choose there. And it will give you, you got decrease heading bug and increase, well, yeah, it's this one here we want. What I'm going to use for that is holding down my right bumper again and moving my D-pad to the left. So I'll be holding my right bumper as a shifter key and then moving my bumper to the left. I'll show you what this does in a moment. There you go, that's right. And then we'll click in this box again and I'm going to type increase heading now. Bear with me, it won't take me a moment, just using the gamepad for this as I don't have a keyboard selected. Increase, won't take me a moment as you'll see. This thing can be quite quick sometimes, you know. Increase heading, there we go. And we'll select that. So increase heading bug, click in the box again. And what I'm going to do, right bumper for this one and move my D-pad to the right. And there you go. Go back. And then it saved that. Go back again. Oh, now if you press B, now it'll save and back those settings. Always remember to save, people. It does if you go back anyway. Let's just come down. I shouldn't... This mouse... The mouse control is awkward. I've got to look into that to see what's happening. So I won't move my mouse to look around. That was absolutely terrible on Xbox, isn't it? Now I see what people means. So if I see this blue icon here, that's your heading bug. If I use those settings now, holding my right bumper, move my D-pad to the left, look, it's moving that heading bug. If I put it into autopilot mode, pressing my Y key, and heading mode, it's now going to follow my heading. Watch, I can show you this. Reset my cockpit view. Right bumper, move my heading bug to the left. It will follow my commands. So you see where that blue heading bug has gone to there? It's now moving it into that direction. So under autopilot control, if you're new to flight sim, you're going to love this part. Especially in an autopilot controllable aircraft. I can just move it to where I want to follow that specific heading. Isn't that fantastic? There's one more thing. I don't want to make this too complex. But this should certainly get you up and running, and you can put in more commands if you want to. I want to show you one more thing. Go to settings. Go to controls. I just want to make sure nothing's bound to it. Always check when you've got profile set up. Basically, when you created a new profile, it duplicated the default profile with your new settings, and whatever you've altered that default profile. So there will be settings in there, keep that in mind. I just want to see what's on my right button and X together. That might be release parking brakes. Yes, toggle parking brakes. I don't want that. What's on my left bumper and X together? Nothing. So left bumper and X, I'm going to have that to follow my navigation course. If you've got a course set up, look at my Back to Basics series. I'll link that down below. I go into all kinds of autopilot stuff. I'll do a new one for Flight Sim 2024. It's a little bit different now, but mainly the same. If you've got a course set up, you can follow it by putting it into nav 1 hold. I'll show you this again. Go into your autopilot menu. Let's go back. So from your main menus here, under controls, I'm going to scroll down till I get to autopilot. And it's actually in here this time. If you go to nav, you want this nav 1 hold on. You can have it on or off. There's no toggle, so you've got to put it on and off. If you want it, as soon as you go put it on, you don't want it on anymore, turn your autopilot off or put it into heading mode, it will turn it off that way. So I only use this one. It's one that you really only need, I find, with most aircraft at least. So left bumper, let me just remind myself, left bumper and X. So it's this one here, nav 1, autopilot, nav 1 hold on, left bumper and X together. Go back. Now this one, because I've not got a course set in, I can't show you this or demonstrate this, but if you had a flight plan set up, so you're following a flight plan from the world map, go and look at my Back to Basics series. I could move the screen down and show you the effects of this anyway. Am I under autopilot control still? I am. If I left bumper and nav, GPS will show up. Nothing will happen because I don't have a course set in. If you had a course, you'll be following the course in your magenta line if you're close to it. Hope that's not gone too fast. So it's meant to be a newbie guide to setting up your flight controller. Do try that. Oh, what's happening to the sim there? Oh, let it just settle down. Not sure what's happened there. Could just be that I'm recording, or you know, the bandwidth's just about to give out on the Flight Sim 2024 service. It doesn't do that natively when I'm flying it on my TV, my Series S. Anyway, there you go, people. That's a quick guide for you. Do let me know your thoughts on this video. I'm impressed with the performance so far when I can get into the sim with Flight Sim 2024 on my Series S. And I hope that quick controller guide has helped you. Let me know your thoughts. Give the video... Oh, by the way, I'll be getting onto things like the Velocity 1 flight stick. Probably the Velocity 1 flight yoke system again, now it's released. And the HOTAS one, setting them up as well. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Give it a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. And I'll see you soon.